Our main character is Lombok, who used to like accumulating virtue, wanting to be a good person, eating vegetarian, and chanting Buddha's name. Until he was transported through time, a villainous system activated, forcing him to do some despicable things he couldn't stand, like lifting his junior sister's skirt or trying to seduce the fairy maiden and stuff like that. If he didn't complete the task, the system would beat him to death, so he reluctantly had to play the villain and mess with those fated geniuses. Whenever a fated genius met him, they immediately lost their power. He even managed to seduce a whole bunch of wives, each carrying 2 bombs with extremely destructive potential. Today, on a beautiful day in Tang Mansion, a loud scream echoed, overwhelming the bird, ruining a formal engagement meeting. Tumyu was desperately opposing the cancellation of his engagement with Lombak's junior sister. This handsome young man is our male lead named Lombak. He told Tumyu that he wasn't here to negotiate and asked him if he even looked like a demon. Now 3 years and still only at the 3rd level of chi refinement with no progress. Even the spirit dog I raised is at a higher level than you. Calling you trash is already giving you respect. Then Lombok turned to his junior sister and said, "My junior sister has the potential to be a great emperor in the future and will soar beyond the 9 heavens. Trash like you do, you think you deserve her. Tell me what makes you worthy of my little junior sister." At the same time, the system board appeared with a notification: you have successfully completed a villainous act, earning 1,000 villain value points. Lombak was very pleased, thinking to himself, hey, so many villain points this time. Truly trampling on fated geniuses is the right path. Then Lombak slowly stood up from his chair and walked step by step toward Tumyu. "I know you, Lombak, 20 years old. A good young man from the 21st century who aspired to be a good person. Unfortunately, before I could fulfill my ambitions, I was confusedly transported to a world called the 9 Continents, becoming the senior brother of the Qingyun sex, Lin Taifeng. Who would have thought this guy would be a thorough villain? As a child, lifting his junior sister's skirt and patting her butt, as he grew up, stealing all his senior sister's stuff to tear up like some Japanese delinquent, and he often bullied his fellow junior sisters. From experience reading over 1,000 online novels, this guy is a bullet shield who won't survive past 3 episodes, so he resolved to eat vegetarian and chant sutras, adjusting his settings to become a good person and keep living. But no matter how determined he was, this villainous system crushed his resolve. A super-villain system linked to him. Unfortunately, the Golden Finger came uninvited, and it's a villain system. Do they really want to kill me? Through the system, I realized I would only be a stepping stone for those fated geniuses. But as long as I complete the villain tasks, I can change the outcome. Everything I've done so far is just to keep living." Now standing before Tumyu, Lombok took out a pill and told him not to say he was bullying him. He had a congealing spirit pill that could help cultivators condense their spirit essence, as an apology for my little junior sister's canceled engagement. Of course, with your trash potential, you probably won't use it in this lifetime, but the Tiu family can. The 2 family elders' eyes widened and jaws dropped when they saw the pill. It really was a congealing spirit pill. With the congealing spirit pill, our 2 family will have a powerful spirit essence expert to guard us. Unexpectedly, Tumyu suddenly slammed the table hard and shouted loudly, "Enough! Even though I'm just trash now, I once reached the Bamboo Foundation stage at 16. This made Lombak dumbfounded, startled, realizing it was all just hot air. He thought he was about to break through right here. Then Tumyu threw out some street fighter insults at me, pointing and shouting, "What cultivation level did you have at 16? Hearing this, Lombak snorted and turned around saying, so arrogant, as if at 16 you were standing at the peak of the world. He turned to his little junior sister and told her, "Show him what manners are. Show him how big the ocean is compared to a little river." The little junior sister slowly stood up and said, "Before I was 13, I was accepted as a disciple by Bivan Fairy Maiden and became Lombak's senior brother's junior sister. That year, I was 5 and senior brother was 8. 5 years later, senior brother reached the slight foundation stage, and I, only 13, with the help of senior brother who was 15, also reached the slight foundation stage." Hearing the little junior sister's strong flex, Tumyu couldn't hide his astonishment and stammered, This is a system." Just as the announcement came, the confidence of the destined prodigy, Tumyu was shattered. His path nearly broken, luck reduced by 500 now. Tumyu's luck is 9 in 500. Meanwhile, Lombok felt like waving a victory flag inside, soaring higher and higher. Come on, after so many years, you've finally taken the first step to boost your luck. The system continued to announce the host successfully overpowered. The destined prodigies wished to cancel the engagement, increasing luck by 100 reward of 10,000 villain points. At this point, you wanted to add fuel to the fire to grab more villain points, so you reached out to your little sister and said to Myo, if I were you, I wouldn't even have the face to live in this world anymore. As for the engagement between you and my little junior sister, Lombak posed with her and said my little junior sister's husband must be a hero, someone like me. Then he glared at Tiu Mew and said, not as some useless trash like you. Tiu Mew was extremely bitter, thinking, so that's it, that nasty woman, Naplon Tuvan, actually likes that bastard Lambak. That's why she wanted to cancel the engagement. Those two bastards are unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable. Without hesitation, he lunged at Lam back and shouted loudly, you two dogs die. His father here panicked and said, Tuni, don't do anything rash, son. But just as Tumio lunged forward, he immediately took a kick to the face, spitting blood rolling dozens of times before falling painfully to the ground. That kick came from none other than the little junior sister, who after showing off her legs said, how dare you touch my senior brother? Meanwhile, Tumio was extremely bitter, nearly wetting his pants, but couldn't do a thing. He could only bitterly curse the damn Lambak. Could it be that you only know how to hide behind a woman? Then Lambak put on his provocative face and said, I have my little junior sister to protect me. You think you can beat me? If I acted, you'd already be a corpse. And the little junior sister said, if she used all her strength to kick you, you'd have been done for long ago. Hearing such brutally hurtful words made Tumio twice as bitter. He lay on the ground, nearly chasing you all perfectly. Very good. After saying that, he pointed at Lombok and continued, Lombok, Naplon Tuvan, listen carefully. Give me 3 years. In 3 years, I will definitely go to Thanvan sect to make you both pay for today's humiliation. 35 Hadong 35 Ha. Tay, don't underestimate me. But before he finished saying, don't underestimate the poor youth, he got kicked in the face again. A squeeze, and he flew rolling on the floor with a thud once again. After delivering the kick, Lambak wondered why these destined prodigies were so foolish. The system again announced successful host, prevented the destined prodigies engagement cancellation. Reward 1,000 villain points. Tumio's luck reduced by 250. Host's luck increased by 50. Tumio's father, seeing his son get beaten twice in a row, was furious and ready to intervene, but the old gray-haired man stopped him. Tiu Chin, don't forget you are the head of the Tu family. What would happen if you ruin your relationship with Thanvan sect? Hearing this, the old man could only ponder for a while and then reluctantly let it go. Suddenly, a beautiful girl ran in carrying 2 bombs on her chest, pouting and saying, sobbing, Hoo, Tiu Mew, big brother. She went to Tiu Mew and kept asking Tiu Mew, big brother, Tiu Mew, big brother, are you okay? Tiu Mew heard this and said he was fine. Just then, the system met her and announced destined daughter Kong Wiet appeared to assist Tiu Mew. The two's luck intertwined. Tiu Mew's luck increased by 200. Lombak knew this and had to ponder. Destined daughter, huh? Indeed, the luck of the destined prodigy Tiu Mew is not easily crushed. Looks like we still need to sever the connection between him and the destined daughter. Thinking this, you didn't hesitate to smugly say, I thought your bones Tiu Mew had some backbone. Turns out you just hide behind a woman. Hearing Lombak use his own words back on him made Tiu Mew even angrier. Your ex-lover cheated on you. What are you? Your little junior sister just canceled the engagement with you. You immediately found a replacement with your talentless, worthless cultivation. Aren't you ashamed? Oh, right, I forgot you have no face and no skin. If not, she wouldn't have kissed and immediately thrown herself into the arms of the woman who did not refuse. What a pity, a jasmine flower stuck in a buffalo dung pile. After hearing Lombak speak, Sister Tuvan beside him couldn't help but laugh uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Kong Wiet was trying to comfort Tu Mew, who was feeling upset. Tu Mew, brother, you must not fall for his scheme to create discord. Then she pointed directly at Lombak and said loudly, Lombak, don't think that at 13 you've reached Bamboo Foundation and consider yourself a genius. I think your talent is just average. Unexpectedly, these words turned Tu Mew next to her to stone. Seeing this, she told Tu Mew, brother, I didn't mean it that way. Meanwhile, Lombak received a notification from the system. The pride of the destiny seer Tu Mew suffered a severe blow. Luck reduced by 100. Now Tu Mew's luck is 9,350. Seeing this, Lombak was stunned for a moment. Damn clever move. If the system hadn't told me Kunwiet is the Destiny Maiden, I would have thought she was my teammate. Then Lombak cupped his hands and said to Kunwiet, Miss Kunwiet, you are right. I really do have just average talent. I hope to have the opportunity to learn from you. Then she turned to ask Tu Mew, Brother Tu are you okay? Unexpectedly, Tu directly pushed Kongwit away and shouted loudly, "Get lost!" Who would have thought that push would actually send Kongwit into Lombok's arms? However, this made him even more pleased as he gallantly asked her if she was all right. Meanwhile, Tu quickly ran outside, making her shocked. "Brother Tu," she cried out and chased after him, shouting, "Wait for me! Brother Tu." After finishing things here, Lombok and his junior sister returned to the sect. On this dark night, a figure was jumping under the moonlight, silently thinking about spending 3,000 villain value. The system also calculated Tumu's next opportunity was on the mountain behind. Tura, tonight. Moreover, tonight's opportunity made Tumu rise. That person suddenly stopped on a rooftop. No one else but Lombok. "This won't do. Tumu, you can't miss this opportunity. It's better to leave it to me, Lombok." A jade piece lies in a quiet forest. Meanwhile, Tumu surfaced from the water, breathing heavily and desperately. The jade on him suddenly burst with aura like an accessory. Tumu angrily shouted, "Oh man, you're not fooling me, right? Below is a Nwit Lake behind Two Family Mountain. This opportunity you mentioned is just ordinary magma." The old man's calculation shown by the aura is hard to understand. No wonder I felt something was off. My calculations have never been wrong before. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Lombok had already snatched the item before Tumu arrived. He laughed loudly, thinking, "Haha, with a monster like that, how could I not have a solid game hack system?" At the same time, the system announced the host successfully seized Tumu's important opportunity, the Four Directions Spirit Box. Tumu's luck minus 2,000, host's luck plus 400, villain value reward 20,000. However, the box he obtained is sealed. It is immortal aura fallen from the immortal realm to the 9 provinces continent. It can be placed in the spirit box to extract all the essence from spirit beasts, then condensed into a primal jade. Now you can only extract spirit beasts under primal core and refine pills to improve your realm. Meanwhile, Lombok was laughing wildly like a madman, admiring, "No wonder he is the destiny seer." Suddenly, Kongwit appeared behind him. She called his name with such a ghostly voice that Lombok's whole body bristled like a scared cat. Immediately, he didn't hesitate and flipped away to increase the distance. Kongwit asked him, "Why are you behind Lam Family Mountain?" Hearing this, Lombok sneered and replied, "The night is long and I didn't want to sleep. After meeting Miss Ko today, her beautiful figure keeps lingering in my mind and won't fade. So I came here and finally met Miss Kongwit again. Miss, would you like to take a walk with me under the moonlight?" Hearing that, little Nguyen called him a shameless pervert, thicker skinned than a pig's butt. He even dares to come here to cause trouble for Brother Tu. After saying that, she didn't hesitate to grab him. Holding the senior official in her hands, she shouted loudly, "Look, this is my boss." Who would have thought that right after Lombok suddenly dodged, causing her to miss? Immediately after, he gave a smug, mocking smile. He didn't want to miss this once-in-a-millennium chance to woo a girl. Then he grabbed her hand and pulled her towards him. Holding her waist under the romantic moonlight, he even pulled out a rose from his mouth and whispered, "If you ask who loves you deeply, let the moonlight speak from my heart." Afterwards, he felt proud and thought, reading all those sappy novels wasn't for nothing. Using this top-tier flirting combo, I don't believe I can't win her over. The system then announced teasing the lion in Hate. A valuable villain point reward of 1,000. Suddenly, a loud shout of, "Let go of the young lady," echoed, startling Lombok and making him freeze. That shout came precisely from an old man exuding an imposing aura. This old man is the bodyguard of Kongwit named Kotu. Seeing him, even Lombok trembled uncontrollably. The terrifying pressure was so intense he couldn't move. Next to Kongwit, there was also a powerful cultivator hiding. "I told you I want to be a good guy. Damn system keeps forcing me to play the villain. If you don't save me, this little guy might be done for the day." Just then, the system timely detected the host was in mortal danger. "Do you want to spend 10,000 villain points to get away to save yourself?" Then he saw the info of Kongwit. Identity: heaven-mandated chief female daughter of the Ko-tribe chief. Ability: Ko-tribe sealing technique, beginner level. Kimlong Kingfire, beginner level. Thalthea water breed. Has been hiding for 3 years. Self-rescue method: the host can use the Thalthea water breed mark on Kongwit's body to escape danger. The Thalthea water breed can silently absorb the host's spiritual power, then unknowingly transform the host into a pinnacle weapon belonging to the Thalthea Chi Water's master. 3 years ago, Dangod Koi implanted it in Kongwit. At that moment, the bodyguard spoke up, asking little Nguyet how to deal with this brat. She sighed in relief, then told Kotu to tear him into 100 pieces and throw them at the brat to chew. Absolutely cannot let him affect Brother Tumyu. Immediately, Kotu didn't hesitate and used a skill to manifest a magical hand gripping Lumbak's neck tightly. In a hoarse voice, Lumbak said, wait, I still have something to say to Miss Konwiet. But little Nguyen curtly said there was nothing to say. So Kotu immediately applied more force with his magical hand, making Lumbak struggle even harder. Said you have been implanted with Thao Thiet Chi water breed. Sure enough, Kotu released him and shouted, Brat, say that again. Hearing that, Lumbak didn't hesitate to reply, Thao Thiet Chi water breed is one of the 10 great strange waters. Right now its seed is in your lady's Dantian. Hearing this, Konwiet immediately showed suspicion and asked in my Dantian. Hearing this, he said, if you don't believe me, you can let the old man check. Then little Nguyen and the old man looked at each other blankly for a moment. The old man said, I must have offended the young lady. Then the old man solemnly penetrated Konwiet's body to examine the truth. Right after the old man opened his eyes wide and angrily shouted, Damn, there really is Thao Thiet water breed. Which bastard dared to turn the great young lady into a pinnacle weapon? Lumbak laughed mockingly and said, I know who it is. Then Lumbak led the two back into the city. Hiding on the rooftop and the old man was performing a spell. Lumbak looked at the old man suspiciously and asked, Old man, your concealment technique really won't be detected, right? Next to Tumyu was an original spirit old devil. Hearing this, the old man confidently replied, Brat, this old man is a transformation god. How could an original spirit detect us? It's just an original spirit. How could it detect us? Then Kongwit told him, You two don't make noise anymore. Brother Tumyu has taken action. Immediately after, an image of Tumyu in his private room appeared. He is now practicing cultivation, simultaneously shouting the Thao Thiet Chi Tui chant loudly. Right after, a blood-red illusory image in the shape of a beast's face appeared behind Tumyu. This made him extremely proud, declaring that he had succeeded. Then he shouted loudly, commanding to practice the demon technique to swallow it immediately. After his shout, the illusory image gradually approached the body of the white tiger below to devour it. In less than 2 short moments, the entire body of the white tiger had vanished. As soon as she saw this scene, little Nguyen couldn't help but be shocked. She couldn't believe that Brother Taomu was truly the master of the Tao Thiet Chi Tui. Immediately after, the sky poured rain, soaking little Nguyen's despairing expression. As for Lumbak, he didn't understand why scenes like this always seemed to come with rain. He turned to the old man angrily and asked, Old man, can you untie me now? The old man told him to shut up. He scoffed and said, If you don't untie me, you just don't. But right after he had to put on a relaxed grin, his jaw crooked because he had other gains tonight. The system then announced the relationship between Konwiet and Tumyu is temporarily strained. Tumyu's luck decreased by 100, the host's luck increased by 20. The reward is 1,000 villain points. Meanwhile, at Lumbak's house, M2Vun just finished roasting a bird to bring to her senior brother's room. But at the gym, no senior brother was to be found. At the same time, in some room in the city, Lumbak was lounging flirtatiously, wondering, Aren't these two planning to let me go today? Meanwhile, Konwiet had just finished a thorough bath. She even boldly carried a bomb on her person and muttered to Elder Tu that this didn't seem quite right. On the other hand, Lumbak saw her body and admired it, drooling, saying, I have to admit, this girl is pretty. I'll cut Tumyu some slack. At that moment, the system displayed a notification. Be brave for love. As long as you are right, there is no wall you can't break through. Please have the host successfully win over Konguit within 3 months. Complete the mission to earn 50,000 villain points. Seeing this, Lumbak cursed quietly. Damn system, don't think I'll do this just for some villain points. But right after, the system didn't wait for him to finish and told him if you fail the mission, you will be killed. And death was Lumbak's lifelong fear, causing him to scream in frustration. No way, why am I suddenly going to be killed in the blink of an eye? Damn system, explain it clearly to me. But the system ignored him and vanished. It reminded him to hurry up and complete the mission. Lumbak was so angry he was steaming, saying the destined girl is so easy to win over. This is basically telling me to go die enemy. Don't run. Meanwhile, Konwiet thought of Tumyu and said, with Tumyu brother's current strength, if he comes into contact with the Thao Thiet Chi Tui, he might be immediately devoured by it. On the contrary, the spirit of the original soul beside him is very suspicious. She reassured herself, wondering if the Tao Thiet Tui seed is also created by that original soul. Brother Tumyu didn't know about this. Kotu beside her said, Miss, what you said isn't without reason. As for Lumbak, he could only take a gamble now to try to keep his small life. In an instant, he broke the rope binding him and yelled, "Absurd! The truth is right in front of you. Are you all blind?" This successfully caught the attention of Miss Little Nguyen. Lumbak took the chance to continue. "Tell me, how can you be so beautiful yet so blind in love?" With just one thought, she dispelled all doubts about Tu Mu. "Are you stupid or foolish? What's in your head?" Then he turned to the old man Kotu and cursed, singing like a bird. "And you with high cultivation but low intellect, your miss has already been used as bait. Aren't you one too? No way you're not a spy sent by the enemy, right? If the Tao Thia Chi is that original soul, then what can we do? Tu Mu has already grasped the Tao Thia Chi, yet the water seed is inside you. You are Tu Mu's bait. That's an unchangeable fact. Besides, why would an original soul need bait?" Hearing him curse so intensely, the two elders over there could only sigh deeply. Seeing Xiaoya fall silent made Lombok uneasy, and he said, "Damn it, isn't that a bit harsh? Surely you're not planning to behead me, right?" He nervously hurried to reassure her that's actually me. Before he could finish, Xiao Yue's crying drowned out his words. "I grew up with Xiao Miao Gege. I know what kind of person he is, and I don't believe he's that type." Just after speaking, Gu Yue suddenly clutched her stomach from the intense pain. The old woman saw this and panicked, asking young miss, "What's wrong with you?" Then the severe pain made Gu Yue fall to the ground writhing. She writhed and stammered, "When I knew about the waterworm, I always tried to burn it with the clan's strange fire." Hearing this, the old woman grimaced and said, "It's bad, young miss. Using strange fire to burn the forged waterworm has triggered its backlash. If this continues, it might." Lambak saw this and asked himself, "What's going on? Why the sudden backlash? Wait, if Guyu dies, then the mission that damn system gave me won't be valid anymore, right?" Thinking that, he couldn't help but laugh triumphantly. "Heh. After all, then I'm the villain, so if she dies and I don't save her, it's no big deal. Besides, she even wanted to kill me." A moment later, while Lombak was calming his mind, he heard the old woman's panicked voice blurt out, "Now it's too late to call for clan help, so just give up." Shortly after, he heard Xiao Yue's earth-shattering screams, "Amatekudasai." This made him very angry, and he yelled, "Damn it, so annoying." The system opened a shop listing items that could seal the forged waterworm. Right after the system displayed the shop, the system offered the villain's first item, Chaos Youth, priced at 999 villain value. The second item was Tai Chi Map, priced at 999 villain value. The third was Creation, Jade Butterfly, priced at 999 villain value. Finally, the Heavenly Opening Divine Mansion, priced at 999 villain value. Seeing this, Lambak couldn't help but be bitter and wanted to punch the system, saying, "Do you think I can afford these? Basically, my balance is as empty as my wallet, only 30,000. Hearing him curse, the system immediately opened another item for him and introduced a secret technique that, after cultivation, allows a male and female to plant pure yang and pure yin seals on each other's bodies during the process. The seals formed by the secret technique can combine yin and yang powers to suppress foreign objects invading the body. They can also be used to refine spiritual energy and increase the chance of breakthrough to the next realm." Looking at the price of 30,000 points, exactly matching his money, he said, "Are you putting a knife to my throat with this price?" The system asked if he wanted to buy it. Cornered, he had no choice but to buy it. Then the system merged the item with his body and announced the transaction was successful. The villain value balance was 0. Meanwhile, the old woman raised her palm and loudly said she could only try using her internal energy to force the waterworm out. Today, even if she risks her old life, she can't let the young miss get hurt. But when she was about to act, Lambak stopped her. This confused the old woman, who asked what he wanted, telling him to speak quickly. Lambak said to her that if she didn't want the young miss to get hurt, she should obediently step outside. "I, the young master, have my own way to save her." The hot-tempered old woman, hearing this, brushed his hand away angrily and said, "Brat, I don't have time to fool around with you now. If you don't want to die, get lost immediately." Then Xiao Yue spat a mouthful of fresh blood, making the situation even more critical. Seeing this, Lambak said to the old woman, "For now in this room, you can only trust me." The old woman wanted to retort, but given the situation, she could only give up. She looked at the young miss in front of her, then told Lambak, "Brat, I'll trust you this once. If anything happens to the young miss, I will crush you into dust and mix you into fish feed." After saying that, she puffed out a breath and disappeared without a trace. Mr. Back saw this and had to say, "This old man's cruel words are following the old pattern, huh? He looked down at Guya below and asked the damn system why this time. When I want to save this girl, you're not stopping me. The system replied that the host's actions fall under the established parameters of the system owner. You just sighed and said it's done, so I'll do it. After a night, the sky had brightened. Last night, Lombak kept healing Tunuet because it was a top-level dual cultivation secret technique, so both laughed heartily. Slowly, Tunuet opened her eyes, groaning and wondering, it's so cold, am I dead? Hearing that, Lombak laughed and said, finally you're awake. It seems the Thao Thiet Tui Trong has been suppressed. Then she widened her eyes and saw him not wearing a shirt and said, you. After saying that, she looked down at her 2 nuclear bombs and broke into a sweat. Immediately after, she had to hold her 2 bombs stunned as if they were about to explode, blushing. Suddenly, the sound of slaps and Tunuet's scolding rang out. Pervert, go to hell, I saved you and you still hit me. You two Van little sister stayed home all night and now your face looks like a panda's, miserable and gloomy, secretly dangerous, ha 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 ha. Then she slowly stood up, carrying her 2 bombs on her chest and holding a sword, muttering, you didn't come back all night, no news. Looks like you were too busy playing and forgot your little junior sister. Meanwhile, Lambak had to clench his fist, scowling as if stung by a bee, his mouth swollen, saying, Konwiet, just you wait. Then he imagined Tionwit kneeling before him, feeling triumphant. 3 months later, let's see how I make you submit at my feet. After saying that, he rolled on the floor, laughing like a madman, making a child on the street laugh uncontrollably, saying, Mom, look quickly, that's Jubaji. The child's mother said, don't look at him, he's an idiot. Then Lombak returned, opened the door and entered, smiling brightly like a blooming flower, laughing. Ha ha, just like when I went out. I guess no one noticed I spent last night playing at the Tiu family. Who would have guessed Tuvan appeared right behind him, staring intently. She approached Lombak with a frightening and dangerous face and whispered in his ear, Senior brother, can you tell me how last night's fun was? Then there was a loud crash coming from the house. Back to the 2 of Konwieta's generation, she glanced back and said, that's why you betrayed us. The old man beside her used a technique and added, if there's one more person, the concealment technique's range has to be expanded. Lombak just came out from the orthopedics department looking like a mummy, smiling happily. One more person means one more strength. In front of the 4 of them was a small house in the middle of the forest. A rather wild-looking young man entered the house smiling. Brother 2, how was your injury? Are you feeling better? After saying that, his face suddenly changed drastically and he shouted, what are you doing? Tumu was sitting on the bed using Thao Tit Chitui with the wolf in front of him. He laughed triumphantly and replied, I'm refining the corpse of the Koi Yo Lang to heal my wounds. You have to admit, this Koi Yo Lang of 3rd brother Trong is impressive. Seeing Tuumu's outrageous actions, the young man couldn't help but get angry, drawing his sword and saying, stop, you bastard. This is my mother's medicine money. Then he swung his sword at Tumu, but was blocked, and Tumu said, it's just one Koyo Lang. Don't you guys know how to hunt others? The young man shouted, every day my mother needs medicine. This Koyo Lang is exchanged for medicine that can hold off her illness until my and my little sister's injuries heal. After that, we can hunt another Koyo Lang, but now you've destroyed everything. You heartless bastard, I really regret saving you. Hearing this, Tumu revealed his true nature. I was grateful to you, but now you want to kill me over something trivial, so don't blame me for being rude. Then he immediately used the Tao Thiet Chi Tui technique, sending a flame shaped like a beast's face toward the young man, shouting, Thao Thiet Chi Tui devour. As the flame neared the young man, he was both angry and terrified. Tubu Tut bastard and the young man's mother and little sister heard the noise and came to see. When the 2 entered the room, they only saw the young man's dried-up corpse. Both were horrified, covering their mouths, uttering each word as if unable to believe, Brother, my 3rd brother, 3rd brother. The young man's little sister saw Tumu there and angrily shouted, you killed brother, why? Tumu replied, I didn't want to kill him, he brought it on himself. The girl couldn't help but angrily shout that the ungrateful scoundrel must be killed. But her mother stopped her, saying, Tuni, don't get agitated. Brother, you can't beat him, and you're definitely not his match. Immediately after, Tumu suddenly turned around sharply, startling the mother and daughter. He gave a friendly smile and said, Oh, madam, don't be afraid. Tumu here is clear about debts of gratitude and vengeance, and will never kill innocent people recklessly. The entire scene was witnessed by several people from Lumbak outside. Through the eyes of Laudo Tu, Von Moi Moi saw his actions and angrily shouted, "Damn it, truly damn it. The Zhang siblings saved you when you were nearly killed by a demon beast, yet you swallowed the beast body that they intended to exchange for money to save their mother and even killed them. This Tiu Mu is truly a beast. No, that's an insult to beast." Meanwhile, Lumbak kept thinking about what those fate-predicting kids said. Being clear about debts of gratitude and vengeance means never killing innocent people recklessly. The old man reminded the young lady that after returning to the Tiu residence, she should try to avoid contact with him to prevent getting hurt. Kongwei could only reply bitterly, "I understand." Then she told the old man there was no need to watch anymore and said, "Let's go." All of this was heard by Lumbak. Right after the system announced Konuyet is disappointed in Tiu Mu, Tiu Mu's negative luck decreased by 3,000 points. The host gained 600 reward points, villain value 30,000. Seeing this, Lumbak laughed heartily, full of delight. So much disappointment. Good job, little Tiu. With that much villain value, saving this girl wasn't in vain after all. And so the group rowed the boat back during the night. Lumbak sat in a corner quietly thinking Tiu Mu hasn't given up any luck this time. After returning to the sect, where should I gather luck from? But there was one thing that made him say again, how come Konwiet is still following? According to him, she should return to the sect. This made Lumbak sarcastically say, "Miss Ko, aren't you a disciple of Thenvan sect? Besides, if you leave the Tiu family like this, aren't you afraid your brother Tiu Mu won't be able to find you?" Hearing him say this, she could only stay silent. Judging by her expression, Lumbak was almost certain Konwiet still had deep feelings for Tiu Mu. However, her following him also made it easier for him to complete the system's cultivation tasks. After some deep thought, Konwiet finally replied, "I know you're mocking me, but..." Before she could finish, Lumbak lifted her chin and said, "So Miss Ko is the type who likes to cry like this. I'm not mocking you, just reminding you that you're in my territory. Aren't you afraid?" Then he put on a perverted, lustful face and asked her, "Aren't you afraid I'll devour you?" After the act, the system announced villain value increased by 500. Hearing his threat to devour her, she panicked in fear and said, You, how dare you?" Lumbak suddenly pushed her onto the bed and said, "Tell me, do you think I wouldn't dare?" The system immediately announced villain value increased by 500. "They say once addicted, you're not shy." Little Nguyen blushed deeply and replied, "Even so, you've already seen my whole body." The system reported progress in wooing the girl reached 35%. This made Lumbak dumbfounded. She's so easy to woo already, 35% without doing much. Just then, Tubin came in from outside, immediately dropping the plate in her hands, her face stunned and unbelieving as she said, "Senior brother." He only saw her suddenly radiate murderous intent from behind, making Lumbak, who was disarming a bomb, break out in a cold sweat. Tuvan has a hot temper like ice cream, and just like that, she drew her treasured blade. Then all you hear are the little sister's admonishing voice and Lumbak's miserable screams. "What do you mean by brother? You've seen her whole body, little sister. Don't listen to my excuses. Listen to my explanation." Right after Lumbak got beaten by her, suddenly a pillar of fire burst up from afar. This immediately caught the attention of the three people, especially Lumbak. He spoke up, "This fire flame is stone fire." Below was a demon with a copper body and iron eyebrows, looking like a demon beast called Super Explosive Beast Dragon. The demon beast is at the peak Bamboo Foundation realm, likes to swallow minerals in its body containing stone fire. Its low-level mutation form is one step below. Its talent is sturdy armor, able to convert swallowed minerals to the skin's surface to form solid armor plates. Immediately, it frantically attacked an ancient tree in front of it. This made a little spirit inside the tree scream in a strange language, "Nya nya nya nya." At that moment, a shout rang out, and a strike from Lao Tu made the little spirit calm down. The demon beast was seen getting beaten by Lombok until it was crippled on the spot. He looked pleased and said, "As expected, it's the super explosive beast dragon. Master loves to eat this the most, just in time to bring it back as an offering." This made the little spirit look at the rescuer with eyes shining like stars and continued, "Hanya nya nya," as if thanking him. Then Lombok continued to return, but constant arguing broke out. "Why are you here? Get out." "Let me through." Tuvan angrily shouted at that bastard Tiu Mu to scram. Tungwet was no pushover either, and shouted back, "I'll stay wherever I want, no need for you to follow me." And so the two of them charged at each other, exchanging blows nonstop. Truly dying over a guy. "Yeah, I see you like my senior brother already. You're talking nonsense, I don't like him." "Yeah, but keep dreaming, my senior brother won't like you." "I said I don't like him." Just then a knock at the door caught their attention. Lombak happily came in carrying a sack behind him and leading the little spirit. Lao Tu came back, and when asked what he was doing, the two wives froze as if nothing had happened and stammered, "Nothing, nothing at all." Lombak sat down at the table and sighed tiredly. Then the little spirit rushed out to pour tea. He drank the whole cup in one gulp, and so did the little spirit. But before he could enjoy it, Lombak had to spit everything out while Tronjing shouted loudly, "What is this?" The two wives saw this and asked Lombok in unison, "It came back with you. We were just about to ask you." So the two wives started clawing at each other to see who had the bigger mouth and bombshell. "Hey, don't copy me. You're the one copying me." Lombak stared intently at the little spirit and asked Kid, "Where did you come from?" It kept shaking its head and then jumped up saying, "Nya, nya, nya, nya." Seeing its look, Lombok guessed, partly, "You said just now that you were attacked by the super explosive beast dragon. It breathed fire at you. You were very scared and hid behind a tree. Then I appeared, killed the super explosive beast dragon coolly and saved you." Tungwit saw that he knew a bit of a foreign language and said, "You even understand the language of other races." Lombak laughed heartily and replied, "Because I was there." Tuvan then pinched her and asked senior brother, "What's this kid's name?" This was something Lombak hadn't thought of, so he called up the system and asked, "Damn system, what's the background of this name?" As soon as it appeared, the system immediately sucked 10K points from him to answer no negotiation. This made Lombak angry, and he hit the system once, shouting, "If it's so good, why don't you just steal it?" But seeing Tuvan playing with the little spirit, Lombak decided to name it Nyanha. Meanwhile, Tuvan saw the name Nyanya, and it seemed the kid really liked it. On the other hand, Lombak couldn't help but think, just looking through the data, there's already so many valuable antagonistic traits. This one's background isn't small. Anyway, let's study it gradually later. After saying that, he cheered with little Nanya, "If you're on my spaceship, you'll be rolling with me from now on. We'll eat and drink to our heart's content." The next morning, the whole group returned to Thanvan sect. Tuvan still couldn't help but be cautious of Kungwi's "Stay behind me. Follow us. Go somewhere else." Kungwi had heard that and immediately replied, "It's just on the way. I'm going to pay respects to Immortal Beachfun. Can you handle it?" This made Tuvan so angry he was steaming as he said, "You." Meanwhile, on the other side, there was a goose and a hand reaching out to make a heart shape with the little goose. The big goose formed a heart shape. Oh, but the little goose turned away arrogantly and pecked repeatedly, saying, "Oh, we don't know each other." Seeing even the goose openly disdain him made Lombak furious. And the result was that he was turned into a roasted goose drumstick by him. He teased coldly, "So do we know each other now?" The system timely announced the user has successfully roasted the clan leader's goose. Villainous act completed, villainy value increased by 2,000. On the mountain while chewing goose meat, he looked toward the sect and saw many people coming out of the inn. Lombak said, "The timing is just right." How nostalgic it turns out. This is the Disciples Recruitment Grand Assembly held once every 10 years. He didn't know how many people would become his junior brothers and sisters this year. Just then the system detected the appearance of a Heaven's Mandate disciple. This news was like a thunderclap to Lombak. A Heaven's Mandate disciple. Us. Could it be Tumu? That shameless guy is preparing to hide his identity and then join the Thanvan sect. At that moment, among the crowd standing there, each person's exotic charm value appeared. Dam's exotic charm value 70. Trin's exotic charm value Tebinivime. Konkon's exotic charm value Detanity. There were also some others, but they were only displayed on a golden token. The owner of that token was a creepy pervert. He licked the token and said, "No wonder this is a cultivation sect. Just a disciples recruitment assembly. Yet there are so many beauties with exotic charm values over 70. It's completely unlike in my village." This reminded him of the girls who chased after him screaming, "Brother Han, Brother Han." Just remembering that made him want to vomit. Get that out of my head quickly. He rubbed the token on himself and asked, Tuteen, if I could have all the beauties of the entire Thanvan sect, how far could my realm advance? The token suddenly displayed the combined realm stage, startling him as he exclaimed, "You say combined realm?" The cultivation in the Nine Cho continent is divided into 8 stages. Chi refining stage, initially grasping spiritual energy. Foundation establishment stage can ride swords to fly. Golden core stage can perform light concealment flight. Nascent soul stage can manifest nascent soul. Spirit transformation stage. Nascent soul transforms into spirit. Combined realm stage spirit and body combine back into original form. Finally, the last two stages are Tribulation Stage and Great Ascension Stage. Han Sect quickly hid the token, thinking only super-level sects across the Nine-Cho continent have the combined realm stage. So wouldn't that mean I turn all the beauties of Thanvun sect into my women? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but get excited and drool happily. I can do whatever I want. While he was still hiding in a corner like Tamdu, others noticed and said, "What's wrong with this guy? Is he an idiot?" An idiot wanting to join the Disciples Recruitment Assembly of Thanvun sect is really eye-opening. This caught Lumbak's attention as well, revealing the appearance of a new Heaven's Mandate disciple. Immediately information appeared. Hansek Chi refining stage. Gender male. Stance chaotic. Chi fortune 3000. Trait Heaven's Mandate disciple owner of harem. Has a treasure. Likes to play and fool around. Rogue evaluation. A rogue who likes to play survived falling off a cliff once by luck. Also possesses the treasure of the 6 directions of women can become stronger. Seeing his chi fortune was only 3,000 from below the cliff, Lumbak thought it was too little. But really the heavenly way must be blind. A rogue like this can become a Heaven's Mandate disciple. Hearing this, the system responded, "Rogues are not scary. What's scary is rogues with Heaven's Mandate to protect the safety of young ladies in the sect. Please user seize the 6 directions treasure from hand sect. Mission complete reward, 80,000 villainy value. Failure comes with no punishment." Seeing that Lombok was also stunned, because if this mission fails, there will still be no punishment. But right after that, he tore the system apart and shouted loudly, "I don't trust this system at all. Damn it, you must be secretly scheming something." Meanwhile, that Han Tong was looking around and said, "Where is the beauty with a rare flower value over 90 pm? Even the top fairy disciples around Qingyun sect only have a rare flower value of 89 at most." Just then a pair of feet landed on the ground. In front of him stood an extremely beautiful girl with an extraordinary aura. She looked like a fairy appeared. Han Tong looked at her information on the token and laughed heartily. The token showed Dak Kongok rare flower value 99, stunningly beautiful. He spread a smug smile and asked, "Group 6, if I make Dak Kongok my woman, what realm can I reach?" Immediately the token displayed the Kim Dan realm in response to Han Tong. He licked his lips and said, "Dak Kongok, be obedient and wait. Your husband will come for you soon." At that moment, Lombok landed near Kongok, catching his attention. He was furious and thought silently, "Where did this hippo come from? And he dares to approach my woman. I must kill him." Lombok asked her, "Senior sister, why do you come to Senior Master instead?" Kongok replied, "Senior Master is in seclusion, so he sent me." If he's in seclusion, I bet she's already run off to the garden to play." And sure enough, a loud sneeze echoed from the garden in Qingyun sect. Inside, a girl was muttering, "That bastard Lambak must be bad-mouthing me." Seeing this, a little girl came out and handed her a handkerchief, saying, "Sister Beach, Van wipe your nose." She replied, "Thank you, little lowly." Then she looked at the statue of Cat Lambak at her feet and sneered coldly, "After the disciple recruitment ends, I'll make that bastard know what true respect for a master means." She was linked to sect leader with the title Fairy Beach Van, but looked more like a lolly. At the same time, a loud bell was rung. A loud voice suddenly announced, "The 404th Qingyun Sect Disciple Recruitment Conference officially begins." The announcer was Then Din. The first trial of this disciple recruitment is the Sea Island Secret Realm. The first trial, Sea Island Secret Realm, has a total of 10 sea islands. Each island accommodates 100 trial participants. To pass the trial, one must find the yin-yang fish hidden all over the island. Collect 11 pairs of yin-yang fish from the mechanism. Each island has 3 pairs that can be contested. In other words, there will be 3 winners on each island. Of course, during the battle on the sea island, death does not mean permanent death. After dying on the sea island, the person will immediately dissolve. Then return to the square intact as before. Next, please observe each trial participant's performance in the secret realm through the giant screen in the square. Lombak thought that all contestants had entered the competition. Usually in the first trial, everyone fights fiercely, but this guy is very strange. Inside the Sea Island Secret Realm, Han Tong found a young couple. The young man shouted at him, "I don't know why, but when I first saw you, a desire surged in my heart. It urged me to kill." Then he used a move to grab the other guy, intending to smash him into a shrine offering. But Han Tong remained very calm. A mocking smile appeared on his lips. A strange seal appeared under his right eye. Before the young man's strike hit him, suddenly a sword pierced through his chest. The person who acted was the girl who had followed him. He looked back and said in a resentful but low voice, "That girl holding the sword tightly said, 'Qinglang Kaka, I won't allow you to harm Brother Han Tong.'" It seemed the girl had been enchanted by Han Tong early on. Not only that girl, but many girls were his victims. Seeing this Lam back, did not expect this guy to be so dangerous. Maybe I should find a way to kill this Han Tong during the disciple recruitment conference. Or is it wrong? Why do I suddenly have murderous intent toward Han Tong? Not only Lam Bak, but also Master Tu Tu Fong felt a sudden surge of impatience in their hearts when watching this kid. Besides, Jade Void Patriarch and Flying Crane Patriarch also had the same feeling. On the other hand, Qinglian's sect leader felt this kid was very pleasing to him and somewhat wanted to bring him into Qinglian's sect. Unfortunately, Qinglian's sect does not recruit male disciples. Dugunyak as a woman also felt exactly the same, but she sensed something was a bit off. Lumbak with the protagonist's sharpness immediately inferred that even their sect leader felt this way. However, the pattern on his face didn't seem to appear in the previous episode. Could it be a new ability he acquired? Immediately, he summoned the system and requested information about Han Tong. The system displayed a notification villain value -5,000 information about Han Tong updated. Lumbak immediately exclaimed as expected, he really has a new ability. Demon Nature Path Han Tong Realm Key, Refining Stage. Gender Male, Stance Chaotic. Chi Luck 4,000. Traits Destiny's Favored Son Harem Master. Has a treasure inside, plays around roguish. Demon Nature's appearance evaluates as a roguish playboy. Women like him, men hate him. Survived to fall off the cliff once and gained a treasure. If he had 6 girlfriends, he could be stronger. Meanwhile, under the cliff on a secret sea island, he was extremely happy with his impressive harem. He laughed proudly. Ha 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 ha, one more girl to add. This ability makes women feel favorable toward him when they see his face, while men feel the opposite. This made him smug, thinking that with this power, he could quickly pay off all his debts to the Quan Fong Lu when buying the Demon Nature appearance. Moreover, he could use this power to gain all the women in the Thanban sect. The longer he ruled Thanban sect, the more victims he would have. A young man muttered after just being betrayed, "Sok Nguyet, why did you betray me? Weren't we supposed to go to the end together?" After saying that, he grabbed the leg of the girl who was his ex-girlfriend. She turned her face and maliciously said to him, then she raised the sword in her hand before her companions and said, "How dare you touch me with that dirty hand?" The young man could only look helplessly as she gave him a slash, immediately forcing him to run away. Afterwards, according to the training schedule, he vanished back to reality. Meanwhile, she sat down looking at the leg still stained with blood because the young man had just grabbed it. She held the sword and said, "This leg was touched by another man, so it's dirty and must be cut off." Then she crazily attacked herself, saying, "It's filthy, chop it off, chop it off, chop it off. It's not worthy of Brother Han Tong." This scene caught Han Tong's eyes, making him so terrified he almost wet his pants. Actually, it wasn't necessary to go this far, but the girls all said, "No, it must be cut off. Its owner must be killed, no mistake killed, so the woman who was contaminated must be killed." Lumbak shook his head and sighed, seeing the whole scene, thinking no wonder the mission failed and there was no punishment. If Quan Fuang Lu hadn't been destroyed, not to mention the female testers on the island, even junior senior sisters and even the sect elder would have turned into irrational demonic forms like this. At the same time in the Thanban sect courtyard, 2 Lowly girls were looking at their handiwork. Bivan Loli planted the final flag at the highest peak of the creation she had spent hours building. In front of these 2 Lowly girls was a row of sandcastles built extremely meticulously and carefully. Bivan Loli said, "After so much effort, finally finished." Just then, a strange object fell from above with a crash, destroying the castle. Lumbak came out from inside saying, "Not good, master. There's an urgent matter." Just as he was about to explain further, the system suddenly gave him 100 villain points, leaving him stunned. Bivan Loli frowned, as if trying to hold back anger, and the result was Lumbak got a severe beating from her. "Didn't you look where you landed? You ruined the sandcastle I worked so hard to build." "Master, your arm is about to break." The little lowly girl over there saw this and spoke up. "Beach Van's sister Xiao Lumbak seems to be about to die." We only saw Lumbak about to lose his soul and spirit before Beach Van Loli's swift knockout. Finally, she relaxed and coldly said, "Out of respect for the little lowly, I'll let you off this time." Lumbak was about to transcend and be reborn in a new life, but when he bumped into Beach Van's eyes, she gave him a hit to wake him up. Then she asked why he looked so panicked like a dog in mourning. He smiled and said, Just so you know, at the disciple recruitment conference, Han Tong secretly brought in 10,000 disciples. His ability is extraordinary, and bizarre planning to turn all the girls in Thanban sect into his harem. Hearing this, Beach Van Loli punched him hard and yelled, "What did you say? There's a brat who dares to purposely hit my disciple. I want to smash him to pieces and feed him to the pigs. Master, please give me some joy." But no sooner had she spoken than Beach Van grabbed Lombok's hand and said, "Come on, let's go to the punishment room." But she didn't forget to greet the little loli, "I'll go ahead." Meanwhile, Lombok was vomiting and said, "Master, please, I want to vomit slower and come visit if you're free." Meanwhile, Hantong was still very pleased with himself for gaining another girl. The girls looked at him and threw hearts wildly. "Hantong Appa, we love you the most. Appa Hantong is so handsome." Conversely, if this scene happened to other men, they would only cry and lament, "Moonlight, why did you betray me? Venom, even though you stabbed me in the back, you must win." Suddenly, the host with the unique hairstyle burst out shouting, "Young friends, how are we feeling? Our goal is..." Then the crowd shouted in unison, "Down with Han Tong, eliminate the parasite." At that moment, a golden light fell to the ground with a loud thud from inside. Bitch Van Loli came out and said, "The landing place is so beautiful, but it's very strange." Suddenly, right in front of her appeared the face of Han Tong, the kind you just want to punch. This made Beach Van confused. Did my subconscious really generate a bit of goodwill towards this evil old man? Just as the taboo says, it's a bit bizarre. Little Lam Tzu, have you figured out his strangeness? So do you know what his ability is? His ability is called demonic aura. It makes men who see him want to kill him. Women gradually come to adore him. Hearing this, Beach Van's voice sounded a bit surprised. "You say demonic aura, that's kinda troublesome." Fortunately, his cultivation level is only chi refining stage. If he rises 2 more levels, the entire cultivation world will be engulfed in bloody storms. According to ancient sect records in the prehistoric era, there was a man at the divine transformation stage with a demonic aura appearance. He basically turned all the immortals into his harem. Then he opened a battle lasting several decades with other male cultivators. From Beach Van's place, I know that with the help of the awakened human roar technique developed by Buddhism, most immortals were awakened. Then everyone worked together to kill him, and finally his remains were taken away. Meanwhile, Han Tong was still laughing happily. "Hey, all the sisters of Thanvan sect belong to me." The more he acted like this, the more the girls saw him as their appa. Conversely, the brothers outside under the host's direction were determined to kill Han Tong. Kill Han Tong, down with Han Tong, protect the village girls. Even someone as profound as Da Kongok was somewhat influenced by Han Tong. This made Beach Van Loli conclude that even Ngok Ni and other sect leaders were affected. Maybe we need to find the bald donkeys of Buddhism to help. But turning back and forth like this takes a few more days, and we don't know if anyone else will awaken in the human world. A technique specifically used to counter the appearance of demonic aura. Lombak secretly asked, "This system is crap. Is your villain system equipped with a human world awakening technique?" The system immediately displayed the human world awakening technique, which helps those affected by demonic aura recover their Buddhist techniques. It normally costs 200 villain points. Seeing this, he didn't hesitate and bought the system immediately. Immediately reported that the transaction was successful and transmitted the Taoist technique to Lombok. After completing the transaction with the system dog, he said to Beach Van Loli that my master knows the human world's Qingjing Hong. She heard that and had to freak out because she herself didn't even know this technique. She replied that she didn't remember teaching any techniques in this area. It's a bit of a clever coincidence. So it turns out to be a pretty good stroke of luck. Exactly, that's right. That's exactly it. Then Beach Van was using a move while saying, "Well, I don't care where you learned it. Your strength and luck can't wake everyone up." Immediately, she took out a huge metal object. Lombok understood right away and quickly approached the object. Then he stuck his head into the hole in that metal object. And I know that it's a speaker to amplify sound. With Beach Van Loli's help, Lombok let out a roar that shook the heavens and the earth to wake those guys up, all of you. Wake up quickly for me. Immediately from the girls to the MC guy, and the men, even the elders, both male and female, all awakened from their daze in a shocking way. Bitch Van chose that moment to fly up high and speak loudly. "Everyone, you were just possessed by demonic intent. No wonder I felt murderous intent just now. The sect leader must quickly eliminate the demonic possession or the ancient catastrophe will likely happen. Back at Qingyun sect, this matter concerns the safety of the whole sect. I will enter the secret island realm. Before that, Elder Lam, Bak spoke up. Sect leader, wait, is it really necessary for the elder to take action? Leave it to my disciple to handle it. And so Lombok was allowed to enter the secret island realm. Because earlier when the sect leader said he would enter the secret realm, Lombok's system notified him that if Han Ting was killed by the true immortal of Tu Tiao, the 6 tasks would fail. Then Lombok's senior brother suggested that he go into the secret realm. Let him go. After all, only he knows about the human world's Qing Jing Hong and is a prime candidate to deal with the demonic possession. Adding to that, Beach Van's words led Tu Tiao to agree and gave instructions. Be careful. We'll set up a forbidden formation outside to prevent any thieves from escaping the secret realm with secret techniques. He was very pleased because the chance to be both a hero and complete the system's task rarely comes. After a while of moving, he saw Han Tong happily with some girls and loudly said, "Let me see where's the next beauty." He also caught Han Tong's gaze. Han Tong looked at him in shock and said, "Who are you, the one who seduced my wife?" Hearing this, Lombok was stunned and bluntly asked, "Your wife. Anyone who meets you is really lucky. Any man who dares approach my woman must die." Then he ordered his harem to rush and kill Lombok. But as the 2 girls flew over, they immediately received a roar from Lombok, which he just learned right in their ears. The 2 girls were blasted away feeling headaches and becoming clear-headed again. "My head hurts, what's going on? Where am I? Did I just betray Bakai after falling for a lover?" Seeing this, Han Tong got scared and wanted to back off, saying, "Stop pretending to be pitiful." Hearing this, Lombok proudly said, "I've already dispelled your demonic possession. Everyone has returned to normal." Han Tong was angry, gritting his teeth and cursing him as a damn bastard. Meanwhile, the girls he had charmed were sent back outside the sect. Then Lombok cast a Taoist spell and said, "It seems the master has taken everyone out of the secret island. Now only the 2 of us remain in this secret realm." Right after, under Lombok's Taoist spell, a beam of golden light quickly flew toward Han Tong. The strike hit, causing a booming explosion that sent rocks flying, but Han Tong survived, though severely injured. It was all thanks to the token he carried that saved him. He muttered angrily, "Damn, this guy's at the bamboo core stage while I'm only at the chi refining stage. I can't beat him." The token on him. At that moment, Han Tong was asked, "Need more power?" Han Tong was as happy as if a flag had been raised inside him. Faced with this danger, he immediately replied, "Thu Tien, you really are a timely downpour. Quickly give me strength. Wait for me to kill this guy. After that, I will capture more women and earn as many Quan Fung points as possible." Thu Tien immediately responded and announced a deduction of 2,000 Quan Fung points. His realm rose to the peak of Truco. Currently, Quan Fung points remaining are negative 10,000. Right after, he let out a loud roar, bursting out his power, startling Lombok. Even you were stunned for a moment. Han Tong laughed heartily and said, "Ha ha ha, my whole body is full of power. Prepare to meet your death, you wandering scoundrel who seduces other men's wives." So who exactly is the one going around seducing other men's wives? This time you're definitely dead in the name of Han Tong Dai, under my power. Then he launched a fast strike at Lombok, but who would have thought Lombok dodged it smoothly with just a few moves? Oh, he threw another strike, but Lombok dodged that one too. To be fair, I thought he'd be stronger than that. Already missed them and still got his mouth burned. The vicious taunt made him feel bitter and on the verge of tears, saying, "If you've got guts, stop dodging, you bastard." Lombok replied, "You think people just stand there dumbly to take a hit from you?" Then Lombok lunged forward, saying, "It's my turn now." This is a long-range strike coming down from the sky. At the same time, the system reported 1,000 villain points consumed. Transaction successful. Han Tong only saw a flash of light as if blinded by something too bright to see. What's happening? Right after, he was slammed down by a golden toad with a loud thud. Seeing this, Lombok exclaimed, "I have to say, this guy's dodging ability is 0. Then the golden toad slowly vanished, leaving behind the crushed corpse of Han Tong. After rummaging through his flattened body, Lombok found the Quan Fung scroll, but Han Tong still tightly clutched something, making Lombok scream in shock. "Seriously, he's flattened like a rug and still not dead." Han Tong trembled and gasped, "I can't die yet. My future is to become a great military reformer of the Lamb world. I won't die here. I dedicate all my Quan Fung scrolls to you. Give me strength." What the hell is this? Transforming to stage 2 already. Right after, Han Tong went through a series of transformations. His final form was a dry skeleton with a head burning hotter than fire. Inside the forbidden magic array, his form was observed, and it was seen that the golden core in his dantian was fading. Seeing this, someone exclaimed, "We're screwed, Lambak is in danger." However, Beachvan loudly told the immortals present here, "Senior brother, no need to worry. Little Lamb is very smart. I believe he has another plan. But to be safe," one immortal said, "even so we should be ready to intervene anytime." Meanwhile, inside the secret Sea Island realm, Han Tong laughed heartily after leveling up. "Ha ha ha! Now I am at the golden core stage. You can't beat me." But Lambak showed no worry or hesitation and said, "That's scary, huh? Dying soon but still talking big. Watch how my golden core divine power kills. Watch my golden core divine power kill you. Golden core divine power." But no matter how much he shouted, nothing damn happened. He panicked and shouted again using the golden core divine power, but still nothing happened. Lambak's face showed no fear, but a crooked smile as he said, idiot. So you have to play the teacher and teach him a few lessons. After reaching the peak of Chuangko stage, one can try to compress the spiritual energy inside their dantian. During this compression, the owner of the spiritual energy will gradually leave marks on the surface of the golden core. After successfully advancing to the golden core stage, the marks on the surface of the golden core form a mysterious and confusing picture. This picture contains divine power, and this divine power is precisely the golden core divine power. Your golden core has a smooth surface, and I can clearly see that the golden core divine power is still there. Divine core magic, ha 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 ha. Hearing him laugh so wildly made Han Tong dumbfounded by this new knowledge. That's why he gritted his fist in anger and growled, "You!" Then he lunged at Lambak while shouting loudly, "Shut up in front of me!" But just as he threw his punch, Lambak easily dodged and asked, "Why so rushed, dude?" Han Tong still thought he was stronger than Lambak now, so he kept throwing punches, but Lambak avoided them all effortlessly. While these two were busy fighting noisily, the sect masters and patriarchs nearby were competing to make fake money. After a round of fighting, Beachvan looked over and asked the patriarch, "Senior brother, what's the situation now?" The Prince Zhao patriarch immediately replied, "What else could it be? Now it's a chase. Wait, seems like something's changed, they've stopped." Hearing this, Beachvan also gasped. Inside the secret realm, after chasing each other like cats and dogs, they finally stopped. Han Tong said, "No more running, finally ready to die." They've stopped because they don't need to run anymore. Hearing this, Han Tong charged at him coldly, saying, "Don't pretend in front of me." Then he threw a powerful punch, but Lambak caught it with one hand and said, "Actually, my constant running was to drain your spiritual energy. A fake divine core like yours will collapse without spiritual energy support." As he spoke, Han Tong's divine core cracked with a snapping sound. Han Tong was terrified by this. Forgetting they were fighting, he shouted, "My divine core, my divine core." Lambak smiled triumphantly inside. Haha said, "Looks like this bastard is out of strength." Then with one hand, he pulled off Han Tong's remaining dry bone arm, making him scream, "Oh, my arm, where's my arm, damn it?" "Onitik Daijin," Lambak said, "All right, it took 2 episodes, let's finish you off now." Then he condensed spiritual energy into a move in his palm, followed by a thunderous boom, and Han Tong was wiped out. The system immediately announced congratulations to the host for defeating Destiny Han Tong. All of Han Tong's remaining life chi was transferred to the host. Host's chi increased by 1,000 current chi is 2,751. Received the Quang Fuang Lu. Villain character value increased by 80,000 current villain value is 135,000. Received the Quang Fuang Lu. System is upgrading. During the upgrade, original functions won't be affected. New features will be added after upgrade. Please wait. Shortly after, he returned to the real world in the sect master's room, luckily not disgracing the mission after defeating Han Tong. Bitchvan praised him. "Well done reward tonight," the sect master said. "Luckily, someone was here this time. Your reward is access to the martial arts manual selection before choosing a secret tome." Hearing this, he cupped his fist in thanks, laughing inside, thinking how strange it was that before they said only divine core disciples could enter to eliminate Han Tong's negative influence. Then Van Sect once again held a grand disciple recruitment, and in the end, 20 people passed all sect tests and successfully joined Then Van Sect. 2 days later in the martial arts manual hall, Lambak hesitated for a moment, then entered the physical training section thinking, since the sect leader is here, it should be enough. He was not satisfied with the pill refining and chi techniques areas because the system was better by thousands of times, and in the restricted area, he only saw warnings forbidding entry, which bored him. He thought to himself, this board must have been written by the sect leader. Only she would pull a stunt like this. Suddenly he was attracted to a place. All eyes turned to see it was the demonic sect's hall dam. Then a moment later, Lombak had a bloody nose. He stepped into a corner, chuckling to himself while trembling continuously. He looked at the book, blushing deeply, nose bleeding like a river, thinking, I didn't expect cultivators to play like this, though these books seem a bit improper. If I take these books outside, Master will definitely beat me to death. Then what good thing is there for me to look at? But after a whole day, he was exhausted, collapsing onto the pile of books, and said, except for not passing the censorship, this pile of books simply cannot pass the censorship. Absolutely no gains, a whole day wasted. While he was screaming in frustration, he suddenly felt an itch on his palm. He looked at his index finger and discovered a small scratch. After checking a bit, he found a tiny little sword. Why was there such a strange copper little sword in the pile of books? Suddenly, the little sword emitted a strange metallic light that mesmerized anyone who looked at it. Moreover, the dense spiritual energy around crazily condensed toward the sword at the center. Lombak stared dumbfounded at this scene, but it showed no sign of stopping. Once it had gathered enough spiritual energy, it exploded into a towering blast that pierced the sky, spreading light and immense heat throughout the surrounding area. From afar, a slender barefoot step approached, and upon seeing this scene said, so this is the reason you told him to enter the cultivation method. That familiar barefoot figure was none other than Beach Van Loli. She continued saying she didn't expect him to truly be chosen as the sect's heir. Behind her, someone calmly said, as if he had already guessed, fortunately the array was arranged before the anomaly, so outsiders cannot sense it. Bitch Van replied, so what if they can sense it? What's there to be afraid of? The sect leader shook his head and said, he still needs time. But for now, it's certain he is the sole heir of Thenvan sect. In the future, he might obtain the Youth Sword scripture and become the only heir. Whether that happens depends on his fate. Let's go back. After saying that, the two figures in the air disappeared. Meanwhile, inside, Lombak was still dazed, wondering what had just happened. The system immediately opened info on the sword Thien Shibingan, one of the 9 keys to unlocking the secret realm of the Youth Sword Immortal and the Youth Sword Scripture. At the same time, Thien Shibingan contains cultivation methods from Chi refining stage to Golden Core stage of the Youth Sword Scripture as supplements. This is a world-shaking opportunity belonging to some Thien Shi noble. Seeing this, Lombak said in confusion, although I don't understand a damn thing, I somehow feel like I've gotten something amazing. I have a key that can open the secret realm of the Youth Sword. Although this thing doesn't really look like a key, the system answered no, you need to collect all 9 keys before entering the secret realm. But right after, you still can't obtain the Youth Sword scripture. You also have to fight the heirs of the other 8 sects. Ultimately, the only heir who wins receives the Youth Sword scripture. Lombak sighed. How troublesome such a strict selection mechanism. The system said it's not necessarily about defeating all 8 heirs. Using all 9 keys might be enough. Lombak replied, you say it like they're willing to cooperate, but I don't think so. I remember the system has abilities, right? Right after, in the Youth Secret Realm, a secret manual lying quietly was suddenly sucked away and then rolled into Lombak's room. This made him very happy, saying, sure enough, I can use the system to swap the person's position. Of course, who relies on fighting to get the Youth Sword scripture? Because previously he had used a 130,000 negative value to exchange for the position of the sealed Youth Sword scripture. At the same time, the system told him if he wants to unseal it in the future, he must collect all 9 Tianxi Bingan or spend 900,000 negative value. Cultivators of the 9 continents are divided into 2 types, normal cultivators and heir cultivators. Normal cultivators usually train and level up gradually. For example, a cultivator from foundation establishment stage, advancing to golden core stage, compresses spiritual power in the Dantian to form a golden core sphere. Getting the Thien Shibingan key, he allows one to become an heir cultivator, and becoming the heir cultivator of the Youth Sword Immortal is different. The Youth Sword Immortal requires heir cultivators at foundation establishment stage to gather spiritual power 4, even 5 times that of normal foundation establishment cultivators. Then when advancing to Golden Core stage, they use secret methods in the Dantian to create 2 Golden Cores, 1 spherical and 1 sword-shaped. After ascending to Nascent Soul stage, besides the Nascent Soul candidates also have a powerful Nascent Soul sword with great force. This original Then Fee sword can be used to train into the Destiny sword, which will develop alongside the Inheritor and together advance to a higher realm. The Inheritor who ultimately obtains the complete Youth Immortal sword within the secret realm will become the sole Youth Inheritor. Just as he says this, Lombok interrupted silently. Wait, don't tell me so much. Using my 130,000 negative value to exchange for a sealed young immortal sword, you then tell me that to unseal it requires 900,000 negative value. Otherwise, I'll smash you to death with a book, believe it or not. Hearing this, the system slyly said, Master, you didn't ask beforehand. But it could only helplessly sigh, forget it, who argues with a bandit, I should just use a book to smash you to death right away. Immediately after the system got a good beating from him. Then Lombok said, the spiritual power is 4 to 5 times stronger, which is a bit difficult. If too much spiritual power is absorbed, the Dantian will explode. No matter how you suppress the Dantian spiritual power, a normal person can at most double their spiritual power output. System, do you have any solutions? The system immediately replied, yes, master. There are 3 ways, 1 a special bloodline, 2 cultivating special techniques, 3 elixirs. I don't have a special bloodline, and my sect doesn't have special cultivation techniques to expand the Dantian fourfold. Moreover, the system just tricked me out of 130,000 negative value, so now you only have 1 path left. The system then appeared and said, ordinary pill refining requires 2,000 negative value, but the real price isn't 5,000 negative value. This surprised me quite a bit, so he decided to exchange for this ordinary pill refining technique. The system immediately transmitted new knowledge to Lombok. Although the system was trash, it was actually quite powerful. It directly turned him into a pill refiner. Furthermore, it seemed to be a level 3 pill refiner. Level 3 plus this treasure of his extracting the essence from medicinal materials and refining top-grade pills was an easy task. So he immediately went into the pill refining room. After a while, he had finished refining. I have successfully refined the Supreme Dantian Restoration Pill. The Dantian Restoration Pill is for the golden core stage and can slightly expand the Dantian's flexibility. The higher the quality of the pill, the better the effect. Without hesitation, he threw the pill into his mouth to test its effectiveness. Then he sat down to absorb the medicinal power and channel it into his Dantian. After absorbing it, Lombok couldn't help but exclaim that the Dantian's flexibility had expanded a bit. It could absorb a little more spiritual power now. People say to forge iron, you must strike when it's red hot. So he grabbed the remaining pills and swallowed them down like water. He didn't feel shocked. Instead, he felt unusually good. As expected of a supreme pill. Old man swallowed 10 pills at once. Now the Dantian can absorb at least 50 more power. However, the restoration pill can't be taken often. You have to rest for a few months. During this time, go buy some spiritual medicine to refine pills to nourish and protect the Dantian. Suddenly, the system appeared again and gave him a new mission. At night, Tuvan was alone in the gloomy forest speaking. As expected of senior brother able to resolve such a huge crisis. I wonder what senior brother gained from the cultivation method. I'll ask him. While wondering this unexpectedly, Xiaowei suddenly appeared in front of her. This made Tuvan speak up. Little Xiaowei, what are you sneaking around here for? Could it be that you want to ask my senior brother to do what he couldn't finish on the flying ship just now? I'm not interested in your senior brother. If you keep talking nonsense, don't blame me for being rude. I advise you to give up on senior brother soon. My senior brother wouldn't like you anyway. Hearing this, Xiaowei said, I told you I'm not interested. Don't you understand? Meanwhile, on the other side, a shadow was silently observing the two. The man in black also locked eyes with the 2 wives, making the 2 exclaim, Who is that? Tuvan shouted angrily. Tonight I've bumped into 2 sneaky guys. Seeing he was discovered, the man in black ran off in a hurry. Tuvan shouted, You bastard, don't run. Little Noyet never misses a chance to tease. Hey, you said not to run, so others really didn't run. Then she probably told Tuvan to open her eyes wide and watch. At the same time, she unleashed a secret move directing a whip flying towards the man in black. It was Lombok running for his life. The whip caught up just in time and wrapped around one of his legs. Then it immediately pulled hard, causing Lombok to fall flat on his face. At that moment, Tuvan also arrived alongside little Nguyet. The 2 wives stared down and asked, Tell me what secret mischief are you up to? Dressed like that, Lombok, lying face down, reached out and opened his palm to reveal a pill glowing and catching the attention of the 2 wives. Suddenly, the pill cracked open and caused a small explosion, sending dust swirling everywhere. The two girls' faces flushed, as if they had been drugged and almost fainted. Meanwhile, Lombok slowly stood up. And just like that, the two wives were hung up high on a tree by Lombok. At the same time, the system announced mission completion and awarded 5,000 villain points. Because earlier, when he received the system's mission to hang Nguyen and Lan Tuvan on the tree, within 6 hours after completing the mission, he would receive 5,000 villain points. If he failed, the host would be forced to run naked around Thanvan sect. Just thinking about that shameful punishment made Lombok reluctantly say, "Don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame the damn system." And so the next day on Lingtae Peak, Lombok was being beaten by little Tuvan while screaming, "Senior brother, please stop for your junior sister." Yet he hung junior sister and Nguyet on the tree all night. Hearing her say that even Lombok didn't know how he got caught, Tuvan showed no mercy and shot a fireball made of Lingta fire straight at Lombok. There was a loud boom at the mountain peak. A huge explosion happened. A while later, while Lombok was still being beaten by the two wives, someone familiar came and said, "All right, you guys stop fooling around. I have official business to discuss." "Yes, senior sister. What is it?" Miss Duyen Kongok just said that the three sects grand meeting is in a month. Master has decided to bring junior brother to participate. And Miss Kongwe Master told you to come along as well. Soon it was evening. Tuvan and Kongok were soaking in the bath when Tuvan asked, "All the day's fatigue just melts away. Senior sister, how long will you be at the three sects grand meeting?" I don't know either. Why don't you want to let your senior brother go?" Hearing senior sister say that, their hearts sank and the little one kicked and screamed. But she said she wasn't ignoring senior brother who spent the whole day doing bad things. Not only that, although senior brother did bad things all day, I always feel like he's being forced. Next time, ask him if there's a special reason. A special reason like being possessed by some spirit so that if he doesn't do bad things, he would explode and die. While the two sisters were still guessing and teasing, suddenly Tuvan noticed something was off. Looking closer, she realized their change of clothes was missing. Where the hell did they go? This made her shout loudly, "It's definitely that damn senior brother who did it again." Meanwhile, Lombok was running away after stealing the clothes, whispering, "Sorry, ladies." The system then also announced a mission. System Cowherd and Weaver steal the clothes of senior sister and junior sister. Failure will force the host to run naked around Thanban sect. Damn system, sooner or later, I'm gonna beat you to hell. Mission complete, reward, 2,000 villain points. Then a few days later, on a dark night, Lombok was on a rooftop humming a song, "Oh, oh, 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 oh." It's morning, wake up, guys. The song he was singing gradually echoed everywhere and reached Beach Van, the little loli who was sleeping. She opened her eyes toward the direction of Lombok. Meanwhile, he was still actively humming his hot rooster song. Then suddenly, Van Loli broke through the roof and appeared in front of him. Lombok could only cry silently with a bitter tear. The system then announced a mission system's midnight love ballad, singing loudly on the rooftop at midnight, "Master Ton," that forced the host to run naked around Thanban sect. You look up at her and say, "Master." Bitch Van used a move and said, "You like to crow, cock-a-doodle-doo, right?" Then boom, 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 suddenly crowing cock-a-doodle-doo right in front of the lady. The light from this explosion even shone on Tuvan, who was sound asleep. Meanwhile, Lombok had just been beaten up by Van Loli. Just after leaving, he said, "If you bother me again, I'll blow up the whole city to dust." System notification, mission completed, reward 2,000 villain points. The system has absorbed Quang Fuang 6. Like a naked madman, if you don't complete the mission, you'll be forced to run naked around Thanvan sect. I'm so miserable. Boo-hoo-hoo, I suspect this system uses official duties to cover up private affairs about cultivation techniques. Just after complaining to the heavens, the system showed a new mission. System mission Zhuwang to recite poetry for unfamiliar young ladies on the street. Failure forces the host to run naked around Thanvan sect. This made Lambak only able to scream in despair. A month later, at a place where Van Loli stood at the bow of the ship saying, "Is everyone here yet?" Then she called the roll of those on the Thandin 6 list on the 6th day of the ancient moon. But Lambak was still missing. Looking down, he saw a mummy writhing below like a pupil and said, "Oh, master, I'm here, I'm here." Hearing this, Van Loli casually kicked it and asked, "What are you writhing around down here for?" With her foot still down there, she kicked Lambak up onto the ship and said, "If everyone's here, let's set off." Then the spaceship started moving. Lambak untied his bindings and said, "Finally, I'm leaving Thanvan sect. It's all because this damn system has caused me to be beaten almost every day lately. If I hadn't pretended to be seriously injured, I'd probably have been tied up as a mummy to participate in the three-sect convention." At this moment, the system reminded him that the mission to Wu Konwit would expire in less than 2 months. thanks to the reminder he just remembered. Otherwise, he would have forgotten. She was also on the spaceship at that time. But how to woo her, he basically had no clue at all. At this moment, Xiao Nuet entered Lombak's private room, surprising him greatly, saying, "Oh, you came yourself, Xiao Nuet." Then she suddenly screamed, "Ah!" Hearing that, Lombak said, "What are you ahing about? Just exposing your body doesn't mean it's you." Xiao Nuet blushed and immediately covered her face, but forgot to cover her eyes and told him he was a shameless rogue. Then who exactly is the rogue, huh? Lombak quickly put on a shirt and said, "Speak, why did you come to see me?" The system immediately notified that a new cultivation technique had been added. Lombak thought hard, having just absorbed Quangfuang's 6 what else could be added. Just as he finished speaking, the system asked if he wanted to spend 1,000 villain points to unlock the new ability. This made him gape at how sneaky this system was. But in the end, he gritted his teeth and unlocked it. At the same time, Kunwat said, "I came to find you because recently during cultivation, I discovered a large amount of pure spiritual power. Thinking it over carefully, I haven't changed anything recently except the yin-yang completion of the Qian Toa Yuanzhuo on my forehead. Besides the sealing spell, could the spell you mentioned have other effects?" While he was still wondering what the other effect could be, the system suggested he tell Konwiat that to understand the other effect of the Qian Yuanzhu, the situation might need to be reenacted. He didn't really care, but just by saying that, the system gave him 100 coins. So he was like, okay, money really does determine consciousness. Slowly standing up, he said like a great scholar, "Ahem, to understand the other effect of the Qian Yuanzhou, we may need to reenact the situation." The system again gave him 100 coins. Thinking about reenacting the situation made her dumbfounded. She recalled the scene of the 2 naked people and suddenly snapped out of it, slapping in front of Lombak, shouting, "Pervert, pervert, you bastard!" But Lombak grabbed her hand and the system gave him new dialogue, "Tell Kunwiat ABCX." Even he was stunned by the system, thinking, thank goodness for this dramatic line system. How did you come up with this? You just came back from Japan and got promoted to what exactly? Forget it. You should have realized earlier that the dog system isn't kind. It's better to get knocked away by Konwit than to run around naked in Thamvan sect. Then he seriously said it to Konwit, whose face was blushing. What are you trying to say again? A cultivator must have firm control over their body above all else. You wouldn't want your body to have random problems without reason, right? Like some kind of malfunction. Hearing this, Konwit almost shouted at him. Meanwhile, Lumbak was thinking he was about to get knocked away again. I just took off my bandage. Then suddenly, little Nguyen said, "What you're saying isn't without reason." This left him stunned and amazed. Then he had to switch to a serious tone and said, "Is that okay too?" Hearing that, Lumbak followed the system's instructions and said, "Don't worry. We can just blindfold ourselves so no one can see anyone." While Konwit was still touched, the system reported villain value +10 and Nguyen's conquest progress is 60%. Even Lumbak was sweating and thinking, what is this vague stuff? And what's this conquest progress all about? But before he could investigate further, the meat bomb on little Nguyen suddenly rose up to his face. She said, "Well said, you also have to blindfold yourself." Immediately after, Lumbak felt a comforting warmth and thought, so warm, so cozy. It felt like swimming under the sunlight. But the feeling only lasted for a moment before suddenly stopping. He saw his body sinking more than halfway into a body of water, and even little Nguyen sensed it, causing her to scream. Aren't we on the spaceship? Why did we suddenly end up in the sea? Just a moment ago, we were inside the spaceship, and now we're somewhere unfamiliar. Precisely the two of them were teleported here by a crack in space a moment ago. While the spaceship was moving, suddenly a water fissure appeared, and a strange force shot straight at the flying spaceship. When that force arrived, Van Loli used the treasure Ling Te Kin to create a defensive formation to help the ship block the force. She also realized something and said, "Is this the Mavok Rift? How did it appear here?" At that moment, a young man with strange hair rushed in, panicked, saying, "Beach Van Uncle, it's bad." We searched the entire celestial ship and couldn't find Lumbak or Miss Konwiat anywhere. Hearing this, Von Loli was struck like lightning and returned to the present. This news was reported to the sect. The sect leader said they were probably teleported into the Mavok space by the rift. This is really trouble. Based on the fire patterns when the rift appeared, it's judged they likely fell into the Dihua Mavuk. I will prepare my true body to return to Thansho and rescue them from there. Hearing this, the bald old man behind said, "No Thiantai, the 5 organs formation in Thansho's sky requires all 5 of us to maintain it together to resist the outer demon realm. If even one person is missing, the formation will collapse. Hearing him say this, she clenched her fists and said, "It only takes a little time to have a cup of tea. Can't we do that?" "I'm afraid not. If the formation breaks, the outer demon realm will invade. Then disaster will strike the all of Thansho." After finishing, Bichvun said solemnly, "Understood." She was about to close the communication board when the sect leader told her to wait and asked, "What are you preparing to do?" "Don't worry, I won't harm Thansho." Saying goodbye to the young man with strange hair, she then nervously asked the uncle, "What about Lumbak and the others?" "I only said I wouldn't use my true body to go back to Thansho, not that I wouldn't enter Mavok myself." So inside that water fissure, Lumbak survived by fishing day after day. But from the time the bird nested on his head until it hatched, he hadn't caught a single damn thing. Kongwiat came over and asked, "How many have you caught?" Looking at the wooden bucket beside him, which was empty, she burst out laughing. Earlier, Lumbak boasted, "You come to Thenvun sect to check out the famous fishing god of the sect me." But by today's results, not catching a single fish made her laugh bitterly and say, "You call yourself the fishing god, but you don't even have a small fish." While the two were teasing each other, suddenly a strange creature appeared under the water. It immediately snapped at Lumbak's bait and dragged the fishing rod down into the lake. This made Konwiat stunned as she asked, "What is that?" Meanwhile, Lumbak immediately sensed that it was a very big fish. "Tonight's dinner has a main dish. I'll go and be right back." After saying that, he jumped straight into the pond before Konwiat could stop him. This went on until evening when she lit a fire and said, "Why hasn't he returned yet? Is he really not going to be eaten?" Just then the surface of the pond suddenly rippled violently. A fierce beast lunged out of the water aggressively, leaving Konwiat standing there with her eyes wide and mouth open. Just as the beast was about to pounce on her, suddenly a beam of golden light shot past the beast's neck, successfully slicing it in half as cleanly as cutting coconut flesh. The beast was immediately defeated, lying motionless on the ground. A familiar foot stepped onto the beast's body, none other than Lumbak himself. He laughed proudly. That was way too easy. After cultivating the youth sword segment, it's really convenient. With just a swing of his hand, a glowing sword appeared. No need to retrieve a sword from spatial storage anymore. At the same time, he collected a flame beast pill from the beast corpse. That item's info was also updated in his system. Lumbak's Realm Peak Bamboo Foundation Stage. Key Luck 2, 751 points. Reputation 13,300. Cultivation Method. Spirit Bone Dao Technique. Youth Sword Segment. Yin Yang Dual Pole. Radiant Origin Art. Treasure Purple Spirit Box First Grade Pill Refining Furnace. Miscellaneous Sword Pet. No. Spirit Beast. Special abilities unknown. The Flame Beast still needs 3 more internal pills to awaken. This made him laugh heartily, saying, "Just 3 more internal pills and I can have this kind of Flame Beast." Seeing him laugh like he was playing a game, Kongwit spoke up. "A small flame beast with no name, but judging by your proud look, I'd think you had obtained one of the top 10 rare flames." Lumbak immediately thought of the Golden Dragon King flame ranked 7th on the rare flame list. He then replied, "Do you think everyone is born with the Golden Dragon King flame like you? Most beast tamers don't get any rare flame even by the end of their lives. Keep grilling, I'll go check around." But just as he was about to leave, she suddenly called him back. Reflexively, he turned back and said to Konwid, "This place is so vast. Besides this pond and the miscellaneous spirit tree, there's nothing else. We've unintentionally been here for almost 30 days now. Will the two of us be trapped here for life?" As soon as he finished worrying, Lumbak rubbed her head, making her face flush bright red. He confidently said, "Don't worry, we will definitely return." Then he let Tungwei continue roasting meat while he transformed into a beam of golden light and said, "I'm going out for a bit. Wait for good news." Because of this, his progress with Konwid increased to 75%. While flying, Lumbak said, "Although crossing the sea means we can return, how exactly to get back is completely unknown. Besides, after a whole day of fishing, I should have eaten something first." Just then, a fragrant scent wafted into his nose. Lumbak immediately changed direction, saying, "This is the smell of grilled meat." His eyes shone like tank headlights with anticipation. On this desolate red land besides us, there really is someone else. Lumbak arrived at the source of the smell and found a hole in the ground. The remaining fragrance was emanating from this cave. Previously, I didn't see a cave when passing by, but when Lumbak looked inside that hole, He was shocked to discover a whole different world inside. This made him gape in astonishment for a long while. Once calm again, he used a damaged item to throw inside the hole to see if there was any reaction. However, after throwing it inside, he only saw it continuously falling without end. Night passed like this, but he still had no results. After a whole evening without hearing the item hit bottom, it seemed the new map unlock really worked. Then he stood up, deciding to tell Tungweed about this first. Suddenly, right after he left the item he had thrown suddenly reappeared, but its golden light was much dimmer. After a while, Lumbak led Tungweed to this place. She looked into the hole and said it really was a sky. So without hesitation, the two of them jumped directly into the hole. When they appeared, they found themselves in a bizarre place. There was no light around, only darkness covering everything year-round. Lumbak also marveled at the scenery completely different from above. Suddenly, Tungweed spotted a fortress far ahead, so the two flew there to check it out. But unexpectedly from afar, 3 pairs of eyes were staring intently at them. Tungweed was flying with a woman's intuition and sensed something strange, something Lumbak also felt. Even before Tungweed, she had already pushed her away from death in an instant. They looked back toward the forest, where the airy black light had shot out and saw a mutated lion with 2 heads emerging. One head was that of a leopard, the other a wolf. It stood at a distance, staring straight at them, and growled once. Seeing that Lumbak said it seemed they couldn't get past without defeating this monster, Tungweed, hot-headed as always, said, "Then let's just fight." Immediately, Tungweed used the Golden Flame Dragon Strike, a powerful fiery dragon flying swiftly toward the beast. Meanwhile, Lumbak attacked fiercely with his sword. In response, the wolf head of the beast formed a ball in its mouth and shot it toward them. Their 2 coordinated attacks created a fierce clash in midair. Then the lion head also formed a new ball in its mouth and launched it at Lumbak. At that moment, they kept exchanging attacks, gradually closing in, and Lumbak raised his sword to strike a powerful blow down on the beast. However, he couldn't pierce the beast. Instead, he was knocked back, but luckily Tungweed wrapped her whip around him and pulled him back. She asked if he was okay. He cautiously said to be careful. This monster's strength was at the golden core stage. At that moment, the beast lunged again. Instantly, Tungweed and Lumbak coordinated a defensive move to block the beast's devastating attack. But things didn't go as planned. They had no chance to counterattack and were knocked back by the blow. Tungweed clearly felt that its aura wasn't weaker than our ancestors. That ancestor was a combined form. Are we going to die here? Seeing her helpless, Lumbak hurried to comfort her. But just then the beast lunged again with its sharp fangs. Lumbak only had time to look up, then his eyes gradually closed. Amid Tungweed's panic and screams, "It hurts, I'm dizzy. Am I not supposed to be the main character? The monster is about to attack. I can't move. I can't make a sound. I can't see clearly. Am I about to die?" Meanwhile, in an unknown place, a mysterious old man named Farah sensed the aura of the Master of the 4 Directions. But his aura was continuously weakening. The most crucial era has arrived. The Master of the 4 Directions in this era cannot die. We must save him. Saying this, he used a strange force to reverse time, and he discovered that the two were inside a cave belonging to the demonic flame abyss. Their fate had become grim. The Master of the 4 Directions needed more strength to face the risk of mutation. It was unknown how to refine this Dongthian into a place for trial training and blessing for the Master of the 4 Directions. The honored elders all agreed one by one to the proposal. In the name of the Lord agreed. In the name of Buddha agreed. In the name of the Tao agreed. Meanwhile, outside Van Loli and some disciples had successfully opened a rift to the demonic abyss. She said it was hard work forcing the formation to open the rift, which took quite some time. But finally it was open. "You all wait outside, I'll be back soon." Just as she was about to enter to find the two, the rift trembled violently. The 2 Lumbak and the others suddenly burst out from inside unharmed. This left the disciples stunned. Tungweed's eyes darted around asking where Lumbak was. Lumbak, pinned beneath her, said, "I'm right under you." Hearing this, she jumped up. Sorry, only Beach Van Loli was preparing a grand rescue, but who expected it to be like this? Tungweed couldn't hold back her joy and hugged Lumbak tightly. "That's great. We're still alive." Lumbak had thought he was done for. At that moment, the system announced the progress of the conquest. Tungweed reached 100%. Congratulations to the host for completing the hero rescue mission and receiving a 50,000 villain points suspension bridge reward effect. The curly-haired young man finally spoke up, saying it was unbelievable that the two of them really managed to get out by themselves. Lumbak said, "But why is it you guys master and senior?" The curly-haired young man pointed to the crack and said, "I only saw Bitch Vun being sucked in. Senior brother Bitch Vun is using all his strength to open the crack and is about to go in to rescue you. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye she was sucked deep into the crack, leaving everyone wide-eyed and screaming. At night, the Yun spaceship continued to move. Inside, Lumbak couldn't help but wonder, I clearly remember being killed by that demon beast. Could it be that the dog system saved me? Dog system. Come here. What is this drawing? Did you make it? I only saw that since escaping, you've had a system seal on your hand. Also, the response is, please don't blame the system. The system is not responsible. If the host wants to decode this drawing, pay 1 million villain points. 1 million villain points. Why don't you just go rob it then? Also, the host's previous behavior must be punished. Then the system meticulously explained you recklessly sought death, which severely violated the system's rules. Therefore, the system will punish you. The harshest punishment this time is only deducting 5,000 of your villain points. If you don't stop this behavior in the future, the severity of the punishment will increase, possibly even leading to annihilation. Hearing that, the system couldn't help but curse. At that moment, Kongwiat came out wearing an outfit as thin as a mosquito net, her face burning red shyly saying Lumbak. Seeing this hot scene, Lumbak's face turned as red as a baboon's bottom and said, why are you dressed like that? Before he could calm down, the system told the host to maintain your villain character setting. Otherwise, little Nguyen became increasingly shy, but didn't say a word, leaving Lumbak to understand on his own. Immediately he understood and said, I get it, you came here in the middle of the night to seduce little Ko Nguyen. But just as he finished it, she gave him a kiss, then sighed like summer heat and said, thank you for what you did in the demon realm. Why are you blocking me? Is it to protect me? Fool, I don't know either. My body just acted on its own. Can you blame me for this? Kongwit smiled and pinned him down in the night, saying, I don't blame you. And so the two started competing in spell battles through the night. Tonight, the cultivation levels of Lumbak and Kongwit rose quickly. Little Nguyen's realm rose to the peak of the Juji stage. Her Dantian capacity tripled. Meanwhile, Lumbak's realm also reached the peak Juji stage, with his Dantian capacity increasing fourfold. Meanwhile, in Dan City, the Soul Master, Nguyenan was watching Tumio train and sighed. Though the clan had encountered some difficulties, Tumio quickly regained his spirit. In just a few months, he received many opportunities that boosted his cultivation to the Golden Core stage, then successfully became a third-grade pillmaster, joined the Danyuan sect, and even found 2 spiritual herbs to revive me in Dan City. Thinking this, the old man laughed heartily inside. A disciple like this is a good disciple of mine. Then he thought of the rival's senior brother and traitor. Just wait, you all. Tumio kept training, but suddenly coughed up blood, spitting out a mouthful of dark blood. Seeing this, the old man was very worried and said, Tumio, what's wrong with you? Just now, I suddenly felt my heart racing like something very important had left me forever. Meanwhile, on the spaceship, dawn had come. Lumbak woke from sleep and sighed. Last night's dream was so real in it, I did everything I couldn't and could do with Kongwiat. But next to him was little Nguyen. Lumbak looked over and saw she was still sound asleep, but he didn't care and went back to sleep, saying, looks like I'm still dreaming. But when he pulled back the blanket and saw he was naked, he shouted, this is real. What the hell have I done? At that moment, beside Kongwiat, because Lumbak had pulled the blanket off and she felt cold, she unconsciously reached for the blanket, but instead grabbed his 2 testicles, and all that followed was Lumbak's painful scream.